Should I further my study? A lot of times we talk about studying master, studying ACCA, studying professional qualification, but we seldom address this fundamental question. Should I actually further my studies after bachelor degree? What are the benefits that I will get after bachelor degree if I further my studies? So what are the considerations that you should put in place to decide whether you should further your studies or not? I have a few suggestions for you. The first one is, what is your aspiration? It's like, which pathway do you inspire to go? Like, for example, do you imagine yourself as a corporate leader? Do you want to become a professional in the professional field? Do you want to be someone like lecturer, going for the academic pathway? Or do you imagine yourself as a salesperson, very outspoken salesperson with top sales results, right? So all these are your aspirations. So which pathway do you actually imagine yourself to go? That will decide whether you want to further study and which field that you would like to further study. I give you some examples. If you imagine yourself climbing up the corporate leaders, then you may want to consider either go for MBA, it means Master in Business Administration, or you would like to go for professional qualification if you are still staying within the field that you are in the experts, right? Like, for example, if you would like to climb corporate leader but it's still within the accounting field, then you may want to consider to go for accounting professional qualification. But if you imagine yourself as a professional in future, working in a professional line, and you have the professional identity, then of course, with no doubt, professional qualification will be the one that you should go for. But if you imagine yourself as a salesperson, then maybe it's not too much on the further study in the pathway that you are currently in. In the expertise that you are currently in, but maybe more towards like further studies on like selling techniques or digital marketing or things like this that may complement your career path, right? So which pathway do you imagine yourself going through will be the one that decide whether you want to further study and which area do you want to further your study, right? Then some students may say, I still do not know what I want to do. But it is not necessary for you to know what you want to do. It's just an aspiration. It's like, do you imagine yourself becoming, what in the future? So sometimes you may have a feeling, but maybe towards that feel or towards the feeling that you have, right? You still are not so sure which particular career that you want to go for. It's okay, doesn't matter. But that feeling may actually give you some answer on whether you want to further your studies, right? So that's the first one. The second one is, of course, cost, right? To be practical and to be realistic, you need to think about the cost. Some education may not be low cost, right? It can be very expensive. So you may want to consider the cost involved if you would like to further your study. Like, for example, if you want to study master, you want to study PhD, that one will easily cost you 5 figures. So whether you can pay installment, how are you supposed to get some financial help, financial assistance, all this you have to consider thoroughly. Then, of course, if you would like to go for some certification based course, you still need to pay some money. So that will be an additional cost that you have to consider aside from your daily expenses, aside from your monthly expenses or yearly expenses, right? So nevertheless, education is an investment, but you will see the ROI in the longer term. It's like when you invest currently and you decided to go for further study, you may not see the result immediately. You will only see the result somewhere in longer term. It is not so certain. Some people, they may see the result very soon. Some people, they may see the result even further. So we would like to say that it is a long-term investment, but it will definitely give you something. Because to learn something new or to learn something extra is always not a bad thing to go for, right? So that's the second one, cost. The third one is your interest. especially if number one and number two you have no idea actually, or number one you have no idea, number two is not a concern, like for example your family may be able to support you, or you may have a stable source of income that will support yourself to go for further study, then the third one you may consider, which is interest. Your interest can be related field. It's like you are currently in the accounting field, your interest can be related to accounting, or your interest can be non-related to the current field that you are in. So that is still a further study. That is still a further study, I would say. It's not necessary to further study in your own field only, right? So like for example, if you are currently having accounting, right? Your expertise is at accounting, but you are interested in psychology. So can I go for psychology for further studies? You can explore about that. I think it's not really a problem, right? So that is the interest that may affect which area you would like to further your study. And then the fourth thing is related to the number 3 as well, which is other interests which you wish to develop as a career. Like for example, if let's say the third point that we mentioned, you are interested in something not related to your current field, but you may want to consider that particular interest to be the second option, the second career option that you have, or it is a career option that may complement whatever you currently have, then that is the area that worth your consideration on whether you want to further your study, right? Like what I mentioned just now, you are currently in the accounting field, but you are interested in psychology. So is there any pathway that we can go if this is your interest? Or you are currently in the accounting field, but you are interested in music. So it's like you can sing very well, you can play some instrument, or you would like to now learn some instrument to complement your singing. So that may be another option, another career option where you can actually pursue your interest by performing some singing in pub or bar or something like this. So if that is a possible career, then that may be something that you would like to further your study by learning some instruments, right? By getting some certificates and so on, right? Then another example would be like fitness, right? A lot of people, they are interested in fitness, they are interested in keeping their body fit, or they are interested in going into gym, or to coach people on how to live healthily. So that may be another option for you to go for to further your studies in the related field, maybe to get a certificate of a trainer and things like this to complement whatever career that you're currently having, right? And then number 5 is you have to ask yourself, if let's say you have, especially if you have a resistance to further your study, you have to ask yourself, you do not want to study because you do not want to look at the boring textbook, or because you do not want to learn more. If you do not want to look at the boring textbook, you can choose something that is not so boring. That is not the thing that I'm worried at. But if you do not want to further your study because you do not want to learn more, it's like you want to keep your status quo, that is something that I'm worried. Even though you want to keep your status quo, you still need to learn, because the world is advancing, right? So if you want to keep your status quo, you still have to advance according to the world pace, right? So you still need to learn, right? No matter how, you still need to learn. It's just that you do not need to like further your study in the sense that you really go and take one more step like study master, but you still need to learn along the way when you want to maintain your status quo, so-called, because the world is advancing. So if you want to maintain that, you have to also advance according to the world speed, right? So why I am worried about this thought is because if you feel like you do not want to learn more, that is where that you will actually be you will actually be stagnant, and you cannot keep up with the pace of the world. So that is the thing that I'm worried. So whether you are considering, or whether you're taking the steps to further your study or not, please remember not to stop learning. When I say not to stop learning, it's not to push and pressure yourself to continue to learn. It's like every week I have to read one book. No, but you have to keep an open mind and to keep a learning spirit to be ready that anytime you will have to learn something new, because that something new come out and it may affect your job, it may affect your daily life, right? So we have to learn all the while at any age, right? So that is the thing that you have to keep in mind, whether you further your study or not. So last but not least, I wish you all the best. If you would like to have some advice on which pathway to further your studies, I believe the school counselor or the university counselor will offer you a great help, and talk to the lecturer that you trust to get some advice so that you have an idea whether you want to go for further study or not. Right? All the best.